Hello and welcome to the Movie Power Rankings show. This is our year-end top 10 films of 2014. We'll be talking about those 10 films and the runners-up. I'm joined today again by critic Mike Romick.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here today, Mike. So a little bit about our top 10 list. The website, moviepowerrankings.com, has 10 categories. Every film that's released in a year it gets categorized into one of those 10 categories, and then we pick the top film from each category to represent our top 10 films of the year. It is not necessarily in any order. It is just 10 films that we highlight for the year. The categories themselves, they are in order, and so today we're going to start with drama, our first category. The top film in drama this year was The Imitation Game, makes our top 10 list of the year.
A terrific movie, wonderfully acted, covers material people may be familiar with from Enigma or the play Cracking the Code, but terrifically cast right down the line. Beautiful production. Benedict Cumberbatch is fantastic, as is the entire cast. I mean, not to be missed.
I'm sure we'll see many Oscar nominations for that.
Sure
and it's been making some other award circuits and some top 10 lists of the year.
And well, surprisingly, the adult audience has found it and it's making some money.
Yeah, yes, it's doing well at the box office. All right, so let's talk about some runners-up in drama. We have number 2, Foxcatcher, the Steve Carell wrestling movie.
Well, again, not exactly a wrestling movie, wrestling theme, but still a very bleak movie. Beautifully acted by all concerned. Not only Steve Carell, who's gotten the lion's share of the praise, but Mark Ruffalo is wonderful, as is Channing Tatum, but just dark and just, you know, I'm glad it's finding an audience and got great reviews and all, but I mean, you know, nobody leaves there with a song in their heart. I mean, not that you need to, but again, it's a bleak piece of work and extremely well done, but oh my, you leave there knowing you've seen something very unusual and dark.
And some recent controversy is the wrestler who's portrayed in the film has come out and has bashed Bennett Miller, the director of Foxcatcher, and has kind of even written off the whole movie itself.
Well, and what's funny, he's an advisor to the movie, and again, I don't think he comes off badly in the movie. I mean, it's just they're odd people, and it's an odd story, and it's sort of like not people you want to spend more than 2 hours with in your life. So.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to number 3 in drama is Nightcrawler. It's been making a lot of top 10 lists. Jake Gyllenhaal may be nominated for his performance.
And he is tremendous. The movie is creepy and cold, and I thought it was amazing. I mean, it's not like anything else you've seen, and you just can't take your eyes off of it. I mean, it's sort of like the old saying, you know, people want to watch a train wreck or a car accident. I mean, it's like that. I mean, you don't want to miss a second of it, and it's beautifully done, and probably certainly not expensive movie to do, and it's unlike anything Jake Gyllenhaal has done. I mean, it's very much a good movie. Perfect movie.
Great. Okay, number 4, Selma. It's kind of rolling out to theaters now nationwide about the Martin Luther King violence in Selma, Alabama.
Again, a terrific movie, beautifully acted right down the line. And the woman that plays Coretta Scott King, she is amazing. Again, a supporting part, but amazing, as is our Martin Luther King, as they all are. Again, a very... let's say, you know, they don't fool with the time sequence and things, and it covers a limited section of time, which is good. Visually, I thought it was could have done a little less brown there, but again, minor detail. It's very well acted, you know, a very fascinating story to tell from 64, 65, and definitely a movie that hopefully will find not only a black audience, but a normal audience. The audience I saw too was all white, and I don't think that it's not necessarily a racial movie, but it's a movie that everybody should see. I mean, it's excellent. It's right down the line.
Yeah, David Oyelowo is Martin Luther King. He'll probably be nominated, likely, and Ava DuVernay is the director, and she'll likely be nominated.
The first female Afro-American director to be nominated, and she's well deserving. And the people might remember the actor he was the son, the sort of radicalized son in
The Butler.
The Butler.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was fascinating in that movie too. Yeah.
All right, number 5, rounding out the top 5 in drama, is Unbroken, Angelina Jolie's story of Lou Zamperini.
Yeah.
Zamperini's life story, and there's a lot of ground to cover there. And what did you think there?
Well,
Did they fit it
I
in?
thought it was an absolutely beautiful looking movie. The incredible Roger Dinkins, who's been nominated for 18 Academy Awards, never won. And I mean, it's beautiful to look at. And they captured the most exciting section of the book, which is the World War II prisoner of war, plane crash incident. They refer a little, in flashbacks to when he was younger. And then the end of the movie, which there's been a lot of grief about, is, his last third of his life, and the third section of the book, you would say, is when he's has problems with his marriage, alcoholism, and then goes to a Billy Graham revival and suddenly finds God and becomes an inspirational speaker. That's more or less done in a little few paragraphs at the end, but there was no way to capture the whole book unless you did like an HBO miniseries. But I thought it was beautifully done. Angelina Jolie does a terrific job. The cast, terrific right down the line. And again, there was no way, it was 2.5 hours, but there was no way to capture it, the whole book. And again, it gets a lot of grief because the end is, the rest of his life is captured by just these few paragraphs. But how long can the movie be without being a miniseries?
Okay, moving on to number 6. We'll go through these a little quickly. 6 is Wild. You'll probably expect to see Reese Witherspoon nominated.
She's wonderful.
Number 7, The Fault in Our Stars. Box office success, some decent critical success. So I like to kind of highlight those movies, especially because it was a summer movie, and you kind of forget about those movies that were successful earlier in the year or over the summer.
Yeah, and it's funny. Shannon Woodley got terrific reviews, and the movie in general got very good reviews, and it's like it sort of has been forgotten.
Yeah. 8 is A Most Violent Year, the J.C. Chandler new film. It's been making a lot of top 10 lists. Has some award hopes. Oscar Isaac and Jessica Chastain are in that.
Yeah, she's probably bound to be nominated as supporting actress, but again, it hasn't opened broadly as of yet.
And 9 is Mr. Turner. That's the Mike Lee with Timothy Spall. We probably won't see an Oscar nomination, I'm betting, but...
He was almost a shoo-in because he won at the Cannes Film Festival, whose reviews were great. He's an incredible British actor from the Harry Potter and any number of Mike Lee films. But again,
any other
year he would have been there, but sadly, probably not this year.
Okay, and 10, rounding out the top 10, A Most Wanted Man, one of Philip Seymour Hoffman's last films, somewhat successful at the box office, and again, it's a movie I kind of wanted to highlight from earlier in the year.
Yeah, and again, very good. I'm sort of a sucker for those spy movies like that, and it was very well done along the lines of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy and A Spy Coming from the Cold, and Philip Seymour Hoffman was wonderful. The whole cast is wonderful. Again, sort of a bleak spy movie that did find an audience, but again, at least awful early in the year.
So I think it was a pretty good year for drama.
Yes.
I've got 46 films on the list this year, and not a whole lot of these are getting many Razzie nominations or turning up on the top worst lists of the year. So we're going to move on to comedy next. So making our top 10 list for 2014 from the comedy category is St. Vincent, the Bill Murray comedy with Melissa McCarthy. And
everybody forgets that kid, and he is wonderful. He is sort of the movie wouldn't work if he was too cute or too snippy. He was just perfect. And Melissa McCarthy actually plays a straight woman instead of the crazy one, and she's very good. Bill Murray, wonderful. Again, found an older audience and a good movie. Not a great movie, but a good movie, fun, cute. And it's like shockingly, I guess Bill Murray's audience has gotten older, and they sort of follow him along.
It's been a box office success. It's still playing in theaters. People
Months
have
later.
liked it. It was because this was a weak year for comedy, so it was kind of an easy pick for our top comedy. Number 2 in comedy or musical now for this is Into the Woods with the Rob Marshall, Meryl Streep.
Stephen Sondheim musical, and everybody was a little worried about it, and now the worries have stopped because it's a faithful adaptation, cast right on the money, right down the line. I thought it was a little blue, looked a little like Maleficent, as I feared from the previews, but a minor detail. Mm-hmm. Musically wonderful, and again, I think a lot of people imagine it's like once upon a time, where you have this mashup of fairy tales, but that was written way before that. And of course, the second half does turn very dark, where things aren't necessarily happily ever after. And again, it's very good. And of course, Meryl Streep, so they're going to she's bound to be nominated supporting actress, but really she's sort of the star of the show, and you know, there she is singing her heart out, and she does a beautiful job.
That's good. Okay, Three Neighbors, a vulgar comedy from Seth Rogen. Zac Efron plays like a frat boy who moves in next door to this family, and you know, we saw it. It was funny, and you know,
it's crude, but I mean, we laughed, and you know, Seth Rogen has sort of, you know, played that part before, but again, he does it well, and Zac Efron is on the money, and like I said, you've got to be prepared for some pretty crude humor, you know, and but as such, it was a big hit, and you know, make them laugh, and
big
you know.
box. I mean, the biggest comedy of the year, non-sequel comedy, and yeah, I mean, well. Maybe see a
there may be a neighbor. There may be more neighbors down the line.
All right, number 4. Let's move through these a little quicker. Top 5 is the Chris Rock comedy, doing pretty well.
Yeah, pretty well. I think they review-wise did very well. Business-wise, I don't know. Maybe they were not wise to keep it for a Christmas release. Maybe a little earlier, it might have done a little better.
5 Ride Along was a January release from 2014 and making the top 5. I mean. Box office alone gets it there, and I don't know if the reviews were all that great
reviews
on it,
not so good, but the sequel is on the way.
Right. 6 was Chef, Jon Favreau's smaller kind of movie about you know, starting his own food truck.
Yeah, and I liked it. It was a good little movie. I think was a little overpraised, but again, the audience found it, and it was a big independent hit. And Jon Favreau coming off, you know, the Iron Man movies and you know, big things, and you know, he had a terrific little success, you know, starring, directing by himself. And again, it was a good little movie. Let us not overpraise a good little movie, but enjoyable.
And let's go through a couple more. Bad Words is number 7. I enjoyed. I, you know, may not have made a whole lot at the box office, but funny. Jason Bateman's funny. The kid's funny.
And Jason Bateman directing.
And Jason Bateman directs. Number 8 is This Is Where I Leave You, kind of like a family comedy drama.
Wonderful cast: Jane Fonda, the ever busy Jason Bateman, and good. I mean, you know, you've seen that kind of thing before, where the family matriarch dies, and the dysfunctional family gets back together. But as such, it was well done. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, you know, great movie, but you know, it's always good to see Jane Fonda.
And last comedy we'll talk about is The Interview, which has made its way to audiences.
I have not heard of this.
No.
Who's in that?
Yeah, and it has something to do with a country or something like that. They were
North Carolina? No, North Korea. That was it.
So yeah, they were none too pleased, but you know, the terrorists didn't win, and we got to see the.
And movie. You know what? And we laughed. It was funny. It was crude. It was nicely shot for a comedy. Sometimes comedies all look like they, you know, from television, but again, it's like nice production, some laughs, some not laughs, some crudity, but you know, we enjoyed it. You know. And of course, you know, and what did you read? How much it made on?
Yeah, it's making most of its money on demand. I mean, that's where you
said
30 plus million, and you know, it's making more than that, and then in the theaters.
And here's a few weeks ago that, you know, this was going to be a complete and total write-off.
Yeah.
So you know,
they're probably happy now.
It worked out.
Yeah. So 35 total films in comedy category this year. Some of those are making the Razzies and some top worst lists. So go to the moviepowerrankings.com and check out all the comedies. All right, number 3, our third category is the Great Directors category. Number 1 in that category is Boyhood, the Richard Linklater film.
Wonderful movie. Reviews just never stopped, and again, it's a terrific movie. As most people know, it covers 12 years of they shot a little bit of a year, and this young man grows up. And again, unlike anything else, unless you count the documentary 7 Up, and you know that they filmed the British film Michael Apted every 7 years they filmed him. But again, that they successfully did this. I mean, this was a real risk, and it paid off beautifully. And you know, there's going to be Oscars, not only nominations, probably some Oscar wins there, in addition to a lot of critical recognition.
And in this category, I like to highlight a movie that's kind of more of a historic movie, and this is one that's kind of we've never seen before. It's filmed over a period of 12 some years, and a great success for Richard Linklater, and we're glad to have him at the top of the list in the Great Directors category. So coming up, the runners-up in the Great Directors category. Number 2 is the Grand Budapest Hotel, Wes Anderson's film from earlier.
I loved it. just loved it. I mean, you can tell it's a Wes Anderson movie. I mean, you thought there was a little excessive violence in it, but I don't know. That didn't bother me. I mean, the cast. What a cast. What a production. I mean, what an amusing story. The different aspect ratios. I mean, my God.
It was a good movie.
It was a terrific movie. I could watch it over and over.
3, Gone Girl, one of the more successful films in the great directors category. David Fincher is the director here. This may even get some awards too, and nominations at least.
Rosamund Pike for sure.
Yes.
And they all saw, can they successfully adapt this, book that looked like it would be pretty difficult to adapt successfully? And Gillian Flynn, who wrote the book, adapted it and did a beautiful job, and it was beautifully cast. And not only Rosamund Pike doing a beautiful job, but Ben Affleck and Tyler Perry and Neil Patrick Harris and a whole lot of people all coming through. And they had to change the way they handled it, but again they did. It was a very good adaptation, and very good movie. I had some people complain to me about well, there's not a whole lot of people to like. Well, if you read the book, that was the same thing. I mean they didn't soften it and give you some audience representative who was we like her or him. No, that's not your. If you're looking for that, that's not your movie or your book.
Okay, 4. It's not made its way out to all the theaters, but it's Clint Eastwood's new film, The American Sniper, with Bradley Cooper. Again, it's getting some award considerations, making some top 10 lists, and we'll see. You haven't seen it yet.
No, it hasn't opened yet. But again, Bradley Cooper in another year would bound to be nominated. But again, awfully tight there. And like I said, he's gotten great reviews, and the movie in general has gotten some good reviews, some mixed reviews. But there's that audience from Fury and Lone Survivor that's out there that will most likely find it. And at first I thought well, maybe a bad move to hold on to it, but not so much. Now the Christmas product will be sort of winding down, and they'll be out there, and if not alone, there won't be quite so much competition when it opens in, I think, 2 weeks. Yes.
Okay, number 5, the movie that's still playing, Interstellar, Christopher Nolan's film. We saw it. We had our questions about it, but still, I mean, a great space epic.
And Christopher Nolan has an audience that will follow him. And like I said, I think Christopher Nolan's a terrific director. We both had issues with the screenplay, and again, the length. But no, it's found an audience above and beyond just his core audience, which is pretty darn big anyway. And then you had an international response that was breathtaking from China and everywhere else. So no, Interstellar is not one that they're going to lose a dime on, and it will be recognized in technical categories for sure.
Right. Doing pretty well. All right, quickly moving through just the rest of the top 10 and the great directors. 6, Noah, a religious movie, a biblical movie. I enjoyed. It's made a decent amount at the box office. I think over 100 million.
Right, which they didn't expect. Reviews were sort of mixed, and I was sort of mixed on it too. I know you liked it better than I did, but again, it was an interesting thing. I don't know that. I would have never predicted it to be the hit that it was, but I'm all for hit movies.
Then Darren Aronofsky directing Noah. 7 is Exodus: Gods and Kings, Ridley Scott director.
His biblical epic.
His epic from the Bible, and you said nice technically.
Well, yeah, technically very nice. Probably, Christian Bale a little restrained. Certainly not, and this maybe needs the Charlton Heston approach to it. But again, and certainly not as much fun as the Ten Commandments. I mean, people can gripe about Cecil B. DeMille, but again, Ten Commandments, which I saw recently on a restoration, was terrific. I mean, beautiful and maybe painted with a broad brush, but and I thought the performance in the movie was, oh my God, who's Ramses? Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, Joel Edgerton.
Joel Edgerton, my God, yes, of course. I thought he was terrific. And if you see the Ten Commandments, Yul Brynner is probably the best performance in that too. So it's a good part, and like I said, production is lovely, sumptuous. Sort of they waste some of the supporting people. Sigourney Weaver is sadly underused, but again, nice movie. I mean, I liked it better than Noah, but I think they expected more from that.
Yes. All right, 8 is Big Eyes, Tim Burton's newest film. Doing decently, getting some decent reviews. And
Amy Adams, absolutely wonderful. Not a really representative Tim Burton movie, but it looked amazing. It was most of his stuff does, and but I thought Christoph Waltz was miscast. I mean, not necessarily bad, but just not right for that part. But again, I like Christoph Waltz, but I just didn't quite believe him. And but Amy Adams.
You're not the only one saying that.
Yeah,
but Amy Adams.
Amy Adams. She was. I mean, she's probably going to get an Oscar nomination. Not only is she beloved and been nominated many times, but she's terrific in a sort of a challenging part. And she's it's a good movie. It's an interesting movie. I mean, I don't know if it's completely successful, but again, a good movie.
All right, 9, Inherent Vice, P.T. Anderson's film. That's kind of rolling out now into theaters in January. So good reviews, making lots of top 10 lists.
And based on that Thomas Pynchon novel, the first one of his has been adapted to a movie, and he's a hard read. And so, it just opened, I think, today, recently. But again, it's, we'll see. Again, I love him. Master, I had issues with the script, but certainly not the production or the acting. And here he's got an amazing cast. And, we'll see if a film noir from Thomas Pynchon and Michael or Anderson is going to work. We'll see. P.T. Anderson. Yes.
All right, and 10 Only Lovers Left Alive, Jim Jarmusch
directing. Now, you like that.
I did like it. It was another, movie I like to highlight from earlier in the year, and got some decent reviews, but it's kind of found its way onto some top 10 lists, and I kind of wanted to highlight it. So we're going to move on. There are 19 films in the Great Directors category from 2014. Again, go to the website to check out the full list. We are going to move on to our fourth category, animated films. And number 1 this year in animated was the Lego Movie.
Loved it.
Very good movie.
Laughed out loud. I mean, what a terrific script. I hope it gets nominated for script. Beautifully done. Laugh out loud funny. I mean, my God, if you're not laughing at Good Cop, Bad Cop by Liam Anderson, you don't have a sense of humor.
Liam Neeson.
Oh, my God.
And it's a movie you could definitely watch again and catch
many things that zoomed by rather quickly.
Yes.
But and found an audience, and I don't think they anticipated what a smash it would be. And, of course, now we're going to have to wait a couple years for that sequel, but it will be coming down the line.
Yeah, so check out Lego Movie. It's not just for kids. It's for
kids will like it, but adults will get the humor. Dumbledore.
2 is starting our runners up in animated. 2 is Big Hero 6, the Disney/Marvel movie. This has been doing gangbusters at the box office as well,
and where I think Lego, terrific as it is funny, is a comedy, is an adventure movie. Where, yes, Big Hero 6 has got an adventure story, but it's got the heart. I mean, you've got that Baymax who's just, everybody loves him, and justifiably so. And, I love both movies, and it was terrific.
And the third one we'll talk about is How to Train Your Dragon 2. I think the top 3 here are probably what you're going to see nominated for Academy Awards in the animated category. Again, I think the win going to Lego Movie. The How to Train Your Dragon. The
visuals in that are breathtaking. From the musical score to the way it's shot, and the ever wonderful Roger Deakins was visual consultant on that, as he was on the first one. And you have the vistas and just stunning and a good story. And I don't think it found the audience. Certainly not that the first one did, and it's a shame because it's a wonderful movie. You have You have the visuals with How to Train Your Dragon 2. You have the heart with Big Hero 6. And you have the script and the humor with Lego Movie. You have 3 terrific animated movies that you could see again and again. And both adults and kids.
Yes. Okay, just quickly, a couple on the animated list. Number 4 is The Wind Rises. That's Miyazaki's last film from Japan. Probably considered a 2013 film, but I have it in 2014 because it got its American theatrical release. I think February in 2014.
And what was nice about that is Disney usually just released that in movie theaters in a dubbed version, but they actually, where I saw it, they alternated the performances where some were in the original Japanese and some were in the dubbed. Now the dubbing has been usually good, but I prefer to see the Japanese, and I saw the Japanese, and it was a wonderful movie.
The original language is the way to check out those.
And not necessarily a kid's movie. It's about a guy that designed the Zero planes in World War II. Mm-hmm. But again, an amazing movie, as almost everything he did was amazing. Sorry it's his last one, but the movies we got were amazing.
Yes. Rounding out the top 5 in animated is The Book of Life. Then number 6, we have The Box Trolls. 7, Rio 2. 8, Mr. Peabody and Sherman. 9, Penguins of Madagascar.
What a disappointment that was.
Yeah. 10, Planes, Fire, and Rescue. I've got 15 total animated films in the 2014 animated category. All right, we're going to move on to our fifth category, which is the genre power rankings. These are sci-fi, fantasy, action, westerns. So our number one for our genre films, Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel's.
I've not heard of that.
Only the biggest movie of the year.
Oh, that Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
I mean, it's getting not only box office, but the reviews, and there may even be some nominations. I saw he got from the Writers Guild. He got a nomination for that.
And again, people just enjoyed the movie. And I don't think even Marvel saw that coming. They were very, very worried about it. It wasn't like their brightest arrow in the pack there. And they made a funny movie. They made a likable movie. And boy, did they find a star in Chris Pratt. I mean, and coming up again in Jurassic World, coming up next summer. But no, it was just enjoyable music, hysterically funny. And I was one that the plot, it didn't matter. I mean, it was like a MacGuffin. They're going after that thing. It's like, I don't care. It was just laugh out loud funny and likable characters. And Vin Diesel, who knew?
Yeah,
I am Groot.
And Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
So the sequel's already announced, so that will be showing up on our sequel and series category.
Marvel does sequels. Who knew?
Yeah, I think they're starting to learn. So, James Gunn directs Guardians 2, and so we'll see if he even gets maybe an Oscar nomination for Guardians. Number 2, Angelina Jolie's most successful film, Maleficent. I saw that it just won at the People's Choice Awards, kind of a surprise there. But
again, huge hit, her biggest hit, like you said, ever. And again, I think it had some script issues, but visually it was pretty stunning, a little on the blue side. But again, she was perfectly cast, and it had, it took a sort of like kind of a Wicked type thing, a revision of the original story, and it worked. And I mean, we're going to see more of that. I know Cinderella's coming, but I don't think Cinderella's like a revisionist take, the Kevin Branagh movie that's coming out. I mean, I think maybe you might have been. I'm hoping it's a little different angle on the the lost glass slipper story, but I don't know. I don't see that coming.
Number 3, I have Snowpiercer, the Chris Evans starring on the kind of futuristic, dystopian train traveling the world.
And let's not forget the ever amazing and scary looking Tilda Swinton in that one. I mean, she was great. And again, a very unusual, very different story and well done. And again, they made more money on demand with that. But again, it had a decent theatrical release, and definitely for somebody looking for something a little different. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, 4, Edge of Tomorrow. This film's been being brought up now at the end of the year again, and it's Doug Liman directing, Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt starring. It's on DVD now. It's being called Live, Die, Repeat.
Which, again, you can't even hardly see the title Edge of Tomorrow, and they would have been better off with that title, because it was a good movie. Got very nice reviews. It's a good movie. But, people kept away from it. The title, and the trailer wasn't that good, but the movie was good. Mm-hmm. And it's a shame that it got lost. Hopefully people will find it as Live, Die, Repeat. It was on the box.
Right. All right, 5 is Lucy. Scarlett Johansson there. Is an action movie.
Yeah.
A good action sci-fi again movie, and successful. I think that was an August release, and I'm sure they're happy with it.
Well, yeah, and usually Luc Besson does very good in France and in Europe, and but the United States not so much. But here he had a hit here too, and it helped to have the ever popular Scarlett Johansson, out of the Marvel universe, but not that far out of the Marvel universe as far as story wise. But yeah, it was exciting, a little. Let's say not exactly believable, but it moved along fairly quickly. I think it was a little over 90 minutes long. Bing, bang, bong, it was over.
Yeah. All right, moving to number 6, actually, Fury, the war action movie with Brad Pitt, David Ayer, director there.
Found that war movie audience, and again that they're hoping with American Sniper, and I liked it. I mean, the cast was good. I mean, it was from very familiar territory, but it's territory that's visited every few years, whether you go back to Sahara with Humphrey Bogart, and you have The Beast, and different tank movies where, you have this group of guys that are all different stuck in this situation. And like I said, it's a reliable story, and nice to see it every once in a while come back.
Okay, just a couple more genre films. Number 7, Divergent, sequel coming in 2015. 8 is The Maze Runner, sequel coming 2015 or 2016. 9, John Wick, the highly praised Keanu Reeves action film.
Not highly praised by me, but it was highly praised by a lot.
By some.
By many.
And 10, The Equalizer, a pretty successful action film with Denzel Washington.
Which proves, again, the reviews were not good, but it proves that Denzel Washington is a star, and there's a sequel coming up on that. And, like, he's got a reliable audience that shows up, and, he doesn't need the reviews. Normally he gets the good reviews, but again, that one, not so much, but did the business.
So I have 32 films in the genre category from 2014, so go to the website, moviepowerrankings.com, to check out all those. We're going to take a short break. Part 2 will be coming up of our 2014 Top 10 Films of the Year. Again, you can always check out all the films at moviepowerrankings.com. Find us at Twitter, MP Rankings, and find us on Facebook, Movie Power Rankings. So stay tuned, and we're going to tape Part 2 of our Top 10 list next.